Diego Cordovez.
Adam Schoenfeld.
Welcome to The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. Last week we had Jean-Robert Bellande, and his book and the narrative of his life is being broke and living like a millionaire, and he's willing to be very candid about the relationship with stake horses and the ups and downs of the poker world. So if you missed part one, it's on Card Player TV, and we're going to roll into part two.
Now, you were talking about the game that you've crafted. You're playing that over at the Aria, you mentioned. What are the limits that you're playing typically?
And let me put like a little asterisk next to crafted. I've also done something that it's a balance where everybody's like a little bit uncomfortable with the game. Like, I'm not a big fan of a couple of the games. We have Tommy Fisher in there every day, and we have Vasily, who's a business merchant from downtown, comes in there every day, and
he's an action player.
Right. And then with the two of them and with me, you pretty much have a game that people are going to want to play. And we get this game going every day. It's actually fantastic what we've created over there, and it's basically a 7-game mix. I'll name you the games right now. It's Badoogie, 8 or better stud, triple draw deuce, limit hold'em, no limit deuce with a cap, a $10,000 cap on it. That way you can't just lose your whole roll in one game. Omaha high low, and then stud high. And we find that everybody's just a little bit uncomfortable with a couple of games, but it's something that everyone can deal with.
And just the general limits in the limit portion?
2-400. It's a 2-400 game. In the evening, like around 5 or 6 o'clock, Eli comes in there, and Crazy Mark will come in there, and maybe the game might go up to like a 3-6. But for sure, at 11:30 when we start every day, it's a 2-4.
Just getting back to what you were talking before, your relationship with your backer, is it a situation where if for whatever reason you have a real bad run or just something happens in the relationship, you've got other backers? I'd always assume that you had multiple backers and that way you weren't completely dependent on one, which obviously has its own risks. Right. Is that a misunderstanding on my part, or do you always have? Cause
that's what I would assume if I was somebody else looking at things. I will tell you that right now I'm in a situation where I have a guy that's been doing business with me not too long, from basically before the World Series, and we have 2 separate accounts, one for tournament and one for cash games, and basically he went about this thinking, okay, we're going to chop out a little bit of money in cash games, and tournaments is kind of our long shot, kind of a lost leader, and and that's the way it started out. And then tournaments, all of a sudden, I had a nice little score, $94,000 in the main event, and now actually showing a profit in the tournament side, but I'm stuck big on the cash side. So, and I'm sure that was a little bit surprising to him, and to be stuck the amount of money that I'm stuck, it's probably like $200,000. It's not, that big a number if I was playing 4-800 and 612 like I was a couple months ago. But being that I've done most of that damage playing 200, 400, 300, 600, that's what makes it extra brutal. When you're losing 200, 230,000 playing 2-400, that's brutal.
You're not going to get it back in a week.
Right.
You're going to have to really grind to get it back.
Right.
Is it a case where you know yourself and you know this is the best way to operate, or let's say that you had a great run, or that you made a big tournament score, let's say you won a couple more hands in the main event and you'd won $1 million, would you just be playing with your own money, or do you in a sense need this relationship in a way just to keep you balanced?
I would, my first option would be to want to play with my own money, but at the same time I know that having some sort of structure and having someone behind me, me being willing to chop out winnings and split winnings, I don't have any problem with that. That's not that is not even an issue. Certainly, being a gambler, it's a high priority to be in some sort of action.
Yeah.
And also playing in levels that you're comfortable with. I mean, if you're a 400, 800 player, playing 2-400 or 6-12, it's like somewhere within the vicinity. If you're all of a sudden playing 40-80 mix, I mean, that's not really that's not your comfort zone, and you're miserable all day playing it.
I want to just add a little bit to that. So let's say you had scored, which you're perfectly capable of, $1 million or $1.5 million at this year's World Series. Would you be jumping up to 600, 1,200, or 1,000, 2,000, or would you still be playing
3,000, 6,000?
Right.
Yeah.
But, and I don't mean this as an insult, but are you going to play so high where you're going to go broke?
You're asking excellent questions. Basically, for me, my comfort zone is between 2,400 and 4,800. I will play 612 if it's a great game with Arturo and some of these other guys. That's great action. For sure, if I had $1 million. Again, I may extend that up to 816 or 1,000, 2,000, and I have played those limits in the right games. Back in February, I had a nice little $250,000, $300,000 roll on my own, and I was playing some of those and doing all right in it.
Because you understand the classic psychologist is going to tell you that some people need to play at the level where they feel the danger and where inevitably they're going to go broke. That's just part of their makeup. And I'm not saying you, but certainly there are people in the gambling world that we know that they're just going to seek out whatever that red zone is.
No, I mean, and I've certainly been in that spot before, and that's why I really appreciate the situation I have right now with my stake horse, if it's still there. I'm really, really interested in maintaining that relationship. For example, even this $10,000 that Marco spotted me yesterday, to be honest with you, the money I'm making right now, even though it's not part of my stake horse agreement, believe me, I'm just going to try and build right in and make up on the stake horse. And to be honest with you, that's not even a fair thing to do because his idea is he's staking me in and I'm building to get out. But right now it's like this guy's been so good with me, and I know that I want to have a relationship with him for a long time, so I'm going the extra mile. To be honest with you, I pulled out my bonus money, the $30,000 that I had in bonus money from the World Series, and went ahead and just added that to the stake, and blew through that already. And
but it's fair to say that even though you could raise $10,000 or $20,000 just from borrowing money and play at a lower level and just grind it out, that's just not your. Maybe that wouldn't. Maybe you couldn't do that. Maybe just
no,
you couldn't motivate yourself.
I've definitely done that plenty of times. I just I'm in a situation right now where I really like the relationship that I have with my stake horse, and I'm going to do everything to keep that live. And if it requires taking a little break till he sees that I've rebuilt some confidence and some sort of booking, some sort of results, that I'm all right with that.
Let me take it one more step. Let's say you somehow had a $5 million score. Are you capable of, or are you interested in setting aside some amount of money so you're not broke and living like a millionaire? So you are a millionaire.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you that had you asked me that same question a few years ago, you might have gotten a different answer. Billy Duarte was one of my mentors, and I'd always be trying to pick his brain because I wanted that old school, like being able to read somebody and suss them out. Just how can you tell if this guy's bluffing or not? I mean, what are the things you look for? I was always picking his brains on that, and I remember he recognized a talent with me and was interested. In fact, he was one of the guys who staked me in that 05 event that I did well in, and sat with me and coached me throughout that event.
He was the epitome of a old school.
Yes. But he told me, he's like, you know what you need? He's like, you need to have a baby. You need to get married, have a baby. And basically what he was saying is that I am willing to put it all on the line, maybe even sabotage, things that are going on, because the only person who's getting damaged is me. But he felt like if I had somebody that depended on me, that I had to take care of, then I would be a little bit more responsible, especially when my bankroll got low, and I'd play a little more responsibly and put myself in less dangerous situations.
It's a great point. He had a bunch of kids, and maybe that shaped kind of the philosophy that he had as far as grinding the games and not exposing himself that way. Yeah. So would that change for you? Probably it would.
I would imagine it would. I know this. I know that if I have like a girlfriend coming to visit me or something like that, I've noticed that somehow I always have some sort of bankroll when she's around. If I don't want her to see me ever busted, I know I seem to be doing pretty all right.
Thanks for joining us on The Scoop. brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. And it's been very fun to talk to Jean-Robert Bellande.
I could talk to this guy all day. And
yeah,
we will.
And we will, and he doesn't even need us because he's very open and very interesting. So we're going to have him back for part 3. Same place, same station.